Hey everybody, welcome back. This is our next update. And basically what we're doing today is we're fixing some of the distortions on some of our panels. We're starting to get the panels all nice and ready for putting on the car. And so we're fixing some of the distortions we picked up in the original vacuum encapsulation process. And so we're going to go through a little bit of those in a quick update, so stay tuned. So you saw us doing the sanding on this last time, and I've sanded it down and I've put another layer or two of epoxy on here, sanded it, and then put another layer on. So I think we have enough buildup now that we can really flat this off nicely. And as you can see, we're getting a pretty good surface. You can see the reflection. We've got a little bit, some warbles in there and whatnot, but we'll be able to take those out with a final sanding. Then we need to coat this. This epoxy is not UV stabilized, and so therefore we have to put a clear coat over it. And so we're going to be doing that in a later video. The other thing we have is we got a little bit of yellowing here because the actual epoxy kind of pooled in this area. So what I need to do is cut this down as well before we put our clear on, or we're going to see that. Now I'm okay with seeing a few imperfections in this. This does not have to be perfect. And I think what I'm going to do, even though I'm going to paint the car white at some point, I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to finish this off, clear it, just so everybody can see the carbon fiber for a while. So we'll run around with the car in carbon fiber, and then I think I'll paint it once we send the frame off for powder coating. So that'll be done this winter sometime. And then next spring we'll maybe, or maybe next summer we'll actually paint it white. But for the meantime, we'll do carbon fiber. So what I'm doing over here is I've got this, this is from Composite Envisions, where I get all of my carbon fiber. This is what they call their web lock. So you can see it doesn't fray very much. This is pretty expensive. I think it's 35 bucks a yard. Might be a little cheaper, I don't know. But what you want to do is you want to use this to do all of your repairs, because then you can get really straight, really nice looking carbon fiber surfaces. And what I did was I went over a surface like this that's kind of all rough and bumpy. I sanded it all down flat, and then I put a thick epoxy underneath. And right now what I'm doing is I'm waiting for it to gel and then start getting tacky. And then once that happens, we can really stick this carbon fiber down. Now, what I'm doing is I'm leaving it so that I can cut it right up next to the edge. And then hopefully that way you won't see where the carbon fiber ends and where it starts again. And these are just kind of the exposed areas that are going to have the most attention, are what I'm going to cover. The rest of it I'm just going to sand down and not have to worry about it, because people aren't going to be sticking their head in there. And then I also put another layer of thick epoxy on the ends, which are actually looking pretty good. We have to take out some bumps and warbles in the epoxies, but you know, putting the thickness of epoxy on there is certainly going to help that. So then I cut the pieces out. And again, the nice thing about this web lock stuff is that it cuts like regular fabric without fraying too much. And then I like to put it on when it's just starting to get a little gooey, so that I can move the carbon fiber around. A lot of times in the videos I've seen, they say wait until it's tacky. And I think at that point, if you need to move the carbon fiber around, you're kind of screwed, because it won't move. So when you're trying to pull out bumps like this, you may have a difficult time. Now, this does require you to have some attention on your epoxy when it starts to gel. And so what you want to do is when it hits that tacky state, after you've laid it down and some of the epoxy is kind of oozed in through the carbon fiber, you can move it around and then you can really start to stick it down. Now you have to stay on this as you're doing it, or else some of the carbon fiber can bubble up, and then when it cures, you're back at repairing another distortion. So, so bear that in mind. So anyway, we're going to do these repairs. We didn't have to do any repairs on this one. This one actually has turned out quite nice. We will have to work on this area where we got bubbles and a little bit too thick of an epoxy layer. The thick epoxy in one go, what it does is it tends to have lots of bubbles in it and yellow. Now I did use my heat gun here. When I'm laying down the epoxy, I use this heat gun on the surfaces, and what that does is it allows the bubbles to break, and so it will make your surface a lot less bubbly and a lot clearer for doing the final work on the panel. So pretty happy with the rear deck. I think it's coming out nicely. I'm hoping that the rear bumper will do the same. So we'll keep working on this, and then the next update will show you how the rear bumper turns out, and then we're going to go on to the next part, which is the diffuser. So again, thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. Remember to subscribe and keep watching the videos and post comments. So thanks again for watching.